The mind and body go through a lot. It is not easy being here. This life takes all that you got, especially when the path is not clear. How do you know which way to go? How do you know what's best to do? When should you go fast or take it slow? When should you stop or see it through? Work is taxing on the body, stress wreaks havoc on the mind, like a boat stuck in a tsunami, and inner strength is hard to find. Is that a curse or a blessing? What's all this suffering about? Many of life's unanswered questions lead to more worry and doubt. Is there really a promised land? If so, when will we get there? By and by, we will really understand. Or will the wheat be eaten by the tares? Life is a perilous quest, and the journey is long. The mind and body needs plenty of rest for both to carry on. This excerpt is taken from the poem titled The Mind, Body and Life from Imagine by Robert L. Horton. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the review of Imagine by Robert L. Horton. This is my second review of the year, and I need to say that it's quite amazing picking up Robert Imagine. Having read some of Robert L. Horton's books in the past, I can say that I was really taken aback when I discovered that he's got a new book out there. And I was like, quite interested. I'm going to jump into it because I remember reading his book titled Fame many years ago. I think 2 years ago. I'm going to leave a link somewhere in the description part of this video where you can check it up. But reading Imagine to me feels to be so inspiring. It feels to be so personal. Imagine to me kind of feel personal. It feels inspirational. It feels motivation in nature. It feels biblical. Yeah, I need to mention that Robert's tone of writing is extremely biblical. Then there are so many other things the poem encapsulated in, touching on the theme of the second coming, touching on the theme of the status of our world, touching on the theme of confusion. I mean, we've all been in a stage where we are confused and we don't know what to do, what step to take. Yeah, it also touched on the theme of prayers, the importance of it, and so many other things encapsulated in the book. I need to say that it's well vast into the themes of philosophy. At some point, I think I even mentioned in my written review that some part of the poem feels to be extremely poetic for me, and it feels like a philosopher's contemplation. And one of the beauty of this book is the fact that each poem leaves you thinking. Each poem is the one that you read, you pause, you think about what you've read, and you continue. At one point and the other, there is something for food of thought. There is something to cause you to think. There is something to cause you to ponder. It's extremely thought-provoking. I can say that from the titular and the introductory poem itself, the one titled Imagine itself, it is well vast into the things that concerns humanity, well vast into the human condition situation, well versed into how horrible our world is turning, the war, the famine, the hostility, the betrayal, the lack of trust, so many things. There's also a poem in the book that was addressed to Amanda Gorman and several other stories encapsulated in this amazing book of poetry. Like I mentioned, from the poem titled Imagine, we are being caused to look into some of the things that, if we imagine would make our life to be better, would make our world to be a much better place to be. Imagine joy and no sorrow. Imagine the love that we share today reflected tomorrow. Imagine peace and no hate. Imagine if heaven was everyone's fate. Imagine no guns and no crime. Imagine no sun because everyone shined. Imagine no greed and no war. Imagine no need to beg because no one was poor. Imagine clean air and good health. I mean, over and over and over again, we're being caused to imagine the things that, if we are being granted, I think, not even I think, I believe it's going to make us live a much fulfilling and better life, yeah? So over and over and again, we also introduce a poem titled In Nature and in Peril, which I think, to my own perception, do not only expound on the situation of the nation, do not only touch on national issues. To me, I think the poem titled A Nation in Peril, touched on continental issue and even a global issue. It touched on continental issue on a much global scale because what you read in the book, it's something that's happening in Nigeria, something happening in America or any other part of the world, etc. So it is well vast into the themes of a global issue, the disaster, the bloodshed, and so many. And I also admire the one titled The Mind, Body and Life. The lines of it, part of which I read in my introduction, the excerpt part of this video, is quite beautiful to me. And one of the things I can say about Robert writing style is the fact that most of the poems in this collection are written in three verses. Most of it are written in the contemporary slash modern type of poetry, not the old conventional type. I mean, it's good to write in the conventional style, but I love reading modern poetry. I myself write in the contemporary kind of poetry, and I love using three verses with no need for it to necessarily conform to the ancient mode of storytelling or poetry writing. I understand most people love the traditional method, yeah, but most of the poems written in here are written in the modern time, the 21st century style of writing, which sometimes I really love because I'm a 21st century nigga, I say. Yeah, so it's very beautiful, it's quite poetic, it's extremely pulling, it's well grand into matters that concern humanity, and it's extremely philosophical, very biblical. I mean, I really love Robert's writing because his writing style kind of stylishly blends with what I've written in the past, with my style of poetry. And if you see some of the writing in your style of poetry, it gets you to like, oh yeah, this is quite amazing. It gets you to be able to imagine and think about one of the most beautiful things that it has to do. So I really love the fact that it's really the modern style of poetry, and most of the poems takes the first person narrative point of view. And I also need to mention that some of the poems in the book also takes the narrative style of poetry. I mean, this is the one that has to do with storytelling, whereby you are telling story, but it's in form of poetry. So I really love that about the book. And like I mentioned, most of the poem has a tone of philosophy, more like the one titled "When the Path Is Not Clear." When the path is not clear. I mean, from that title alone, you can enjoy that quite a lot. And this book, it feels biblical, like I mentioned. It has a moral tone in it. It is quite parental. At some point, it is quite reprimanding. Yeah, it is very parental. It tends to correct. It tends to advise. It tends to ethic. Tends to preach moral, and also it tends to correct. And that's one of the beauty that I love about it. So the poem title, "When the Path Is Not Clear," I think this is really something that relates to everybody because we've all been in this condition situation whereby we need decision, we need guidance, we need the path to follow, we need inspiration of what to do, etc. So I think this is it's really an amazing one, really, because I myself have been in a situation where you feel so confused, you feel the walls are closing in, and you just need ideas, you just need inspiration, you just need to sit down, pray, and ask for divine direction, ask for where to go. Yeah, it's very beautiful. And this is actually one of the things I practiced this morning. It's quite beautiful enough, yeah. Yeah, there's some other poems too that touch on the benefit of perseverance. I mean, we're currently in a world of hurry, a world where everybody is in a hurry. Nobody wants to wait. Nobody wants to be patient. Everybody like a quick scheme store. You want to get money, you want it quite fast. You want to get something, you want it to be now. We live in a world whereby people are much in haste to make things happen. No one wants to take into the style, the journey, the step involved to realization, the part, the gentle part, the numbers of times, period, or perhaps years that may take you to reach a particular destination that you're looking forward to getting to. So I love most of the poems that touch on the themes of perseverance. It's quite beautiful, very biblical, and extremely advising, very, very instructive in nature. This is one of the beauty I love about Robert's writing. It's quite didactic, it tends to educate, it tends to lighten, it tends to show you the way. And it's actually one that you can read for personal understanding, personal interpretation, thought-provoking read. The one that will cause you to think long after you've read it. There's a poem in the collection that really caused me to think. Yeah, that's a point whereby, I mean, it was literally blessing those who did not make it here on earth. So in his word, it was like Those who do not make it here on earth to see, to witness the pain, the anonymity, the problem, the challenges, etc. And I actually have a two-thought interpretation to that poem. I did not add it in my written review, but I was like, well, it's quite amazing. We understand the fact that the world is full of vices and troubles, etc. But we should be also glad that we make it here. I mean, we should be excited and happy that we make it here because sometimes amidst the troubles that what life offers, we should also know that there is satisfaction, that there is peace, that there is love, that there is joy, that we can find happiness, that we can find truth, that we can find most of those things. I'm not saying it's not saying we cannot find that, but I find this particular poem to be quite beautiful. And actually, that's one of the things that actually makes it poem to be quite thought provoking. The fact that a poem will speak to you, another poem will reprimand you, another poem will correct you, another poem will advise you, another poem will chastise you, another poem will just make you feel as if the book is a mirror and you, the reader, you are the image, looking at yourself in the mirror and interpreting yourself to the lines and standards of the writer. I'm not quite sure if you get it. I'm going to say that again. At some point, I feel like the book, it's more like a mirror, and myself as a reader, I am like the image standing in front of the book, which is a mirror, and I'm made to look at myself, examine myself, check myself a bit to tell you how preachy, how correcting, how amazing, how reflective the book is. I love it wholeheartedly, and I can actually go on and on and on and on and on. I don't want to give much away, because I don't want to give spoilers, yeah. But I can go on and on and on and on and on. And also, one of the beauty of poetry is the fact that the way I'm interpreting it, someone else could interpret it quite differently. Yeah, this is one of the beauty of poetry. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna find the book to what I've described and even more than I've described. There's so many other things I would love to talk about, but I don't want to give much away. There's a poem titled The Relay, which I love wholeheartedly. It speaks very much of the nihility of human existence, the fact that we won't be here forever, and the fact that we should take caution, knowing that we won't be here forever, so we can be very careful, understand our deed, you know, be careful about what we do so we can leave a better legacy when we depart. So I love that poem very well. It speaks very much of the certainty of life, the futility of this world, etc. And there are other poems too that feel so African. It feels like my mother's prayer. The one titled Prayed Up and some other ones. Then there are affirmations as well, and over again, there are much and much more to come. I so much love and hold in high esteem the works in Imagine. They're quite powerful. If you're the type that love books that are quite evocative, if you're the type that love, read that will cause you to think and move long after you've read it, if you're the type that love works that are extremely biblical and philosophical, if you're a lover of philosophy, if you're a lover of contemplative poetry, if you're a lover of poetry that causes you to think deeply, I'm pretty sure you will love Robert L. Alton's Imagine. It is very deep. I don't have a particular criticism aside from that particular poem that I mentioned, the one that has to do with blessing people who do not make it here, which is quite beautiful. But to me, I just feel I should interpret it in a different way because we understand that the world is quite terrible, but we can actually make something quite good, and we should be happy that we are here on earth. We should be happy that we've been given the privilege to be given birth to. We should be happy that we've been given the privilege of life because life itself is a privilege. We should be happy and we should be glad about that. Yeah, we make it here, and the fact that we make it here shows that we could make a change, significant change in the world. Yeah, it's beautiful, it's very great, it's quite lovely, and I love it wholeheartedly. It's quite beautiful. If you love my review and you'd like to get a copy of Imagine, I'd like to link in the description part of this video where you can get a copy directly on Amazon. I also left a link to the author social media handle where you can reach out to him if you have any questions whatsoever. And if you watch this video to this point and you're yet to click on the subscribe button, I want to urge you to please click on the subscribe button. Do not hesitate to leave me a comment. I'll be glad to reply you. If you have any comment, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll be very glad to reply you. Thank you very much for watching my short video book recommendation of Imagine by Robert L. Horton with foreword from Dr. Khadija White Thomas, featuring Shooks and Pure and Black Girl Magic. Book of Poetry and Equals by Robert L. Horton, author of Released, author of Miscellaneous Pieces, and Fame. Thank you so much for watching and see you in my next video. Goodbye.